So I grew up in New Hampshire, and the first 16 years of my life were pretty normal. And then at 16, I went to get my driver's license, and I had to get an eye exam, and so I could drive, and I had to get glasses. And for me, that's when everything changed. That's when everybody said I looked like Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis is the actor that was in Ghostbusters and Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. And kids would continuously call me that, and it wasn't like a compliment. It wasn't saying like you look like Brad Pitt, you look like Jude Law. Like, Rick Moranis isn't a stud, and it bothered me, and they kept it going and going, and it had a strong impact, and not in a good way. I got to college, and my freshman year, the first semester, I was in a girl's dorm room, and she was half naked. She wasn't half naked. She had clothes on. She had her pants, she had a shirt on, she had a jacket, she had a scarf, she had a hat. She was wearing a lot of clothes. But I was in her room, and things were going well. And then she said to me, did you know you look like Rick Moranis? And like within 2 minutes, I just walked out of there, and I was like really pissed off. And the next morning, I was eating with my friends at the dining hall at college, and they were saying, how'd it go? How'd it go with Wendy? Everything go all right? I go, no. And they go, well, what happened? She likes you, I go, no, she said I look like Rick Moranis, and I left. And they're like, well, who cares? She likes you. I go, no one calls me Rick Moranis. And they're like, you're nuts. And I was like, maybe. So when I graduated college, I moved to New York City, and I got a job as an NBC page. And as a page, you do tours, or you give like tours around 30 Rockefeller Center, and you're a tour guide. And for me, you do 6 tours a day, like 6 days a week. And every freaking tour I did, someone would tell me that I look like Rick Moranis, the actor. And like, I'm a nice guy, I really am, but like nice guys have their limits. So this woman, we're coming out of the nightly news, and this woman, she had a Green Bay Packers football jacket on. She was a big woman, and she said, excuse me, do you know who you look like? And I looked like right in her eyes, and we're at like the elevator bank, and I'm like, yeah, Brad Pitt. Now get your ass in the fucking elevator. When you're an NBC page, it's like guest relations, so you're not supposed to talk to the tourists like that. So I was suspended for a week without pay. So 4 years ago, I hit my lowest point in New York City. At the time, I was living in a basement apartment in Hoboken, New Jersey, and every time it rained, I was getting water. I was working for a French company in Midtown, and I don't speak French, so it was very difficult to communicate. And I hadn't been on a date with the girl for 27 months. Actually 27 and a half months. But who's counting, right? So like a big night out for me back then was like a night on the town for me. Because I'd get out of work in Midtown at the French company, and I would go to a nice, like, real ritzy hotel room. Not hotel room, like a hotel, like lobby. And I would sit in the lobby with the chandelier, and I would just sit there alone and read my graphic novels. So like on one particular night, I'm there, and there's like a party going on in the function hall. And I walk over and I see, and it's a pharmaceutical convention, and there's a lot of women there of all ages, not too many guys, and I'm kind of looking around. I walk over to the bar, and I order a Miller Lite, and I say, and I get out my wallet to pay, and the bartender goes, no, you're all set, you're with them, right? Because evidently I also look like a pharmaceutical salesman. So the drinks were free, and I said, you know what, put the Miller Lite back. Get me a Heineken Light, because Heineken's more expensive, it's imported. So he got me that, and then I said, please get me a shot of bourbon, please, the best you have. And I got that too. And then I tipped him $2 because I'm a class act. So I'm drinking, I've had a couple, I feel good, I got a good buzz. I'm a lightweight when it comes to drinking, and I'm looking around the room, and I lock eyes with this woman. She's like a healthy-sized woman. She looks very much like Monica Lewinsky. And I like Monica Lewinsky. And so she comes over and we start talking and we just hit it off. She's from Chicago. She's here for the pharmaceutical convention. We go back and forth and she's just really into me. I'm having a good time. I haven't had this much fun. Like I said, it was 4 years ago. It was my lowest point. Like, I'm having just such a sweet time talking to her. And then she says, has anyone ever told you look like Rick Moranis? I pause. And then I say, well, I should, you know. He's my dad. And she's like, oh my God, I've never met anybody famous before. I'm like, I'm not, I mean, he's famous. I'm not. She's like, no, you're famous. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm famous, yeah. So we hit it off, and she's just really ecstatic, and that makes me happy. So I walk her back to her hotel room, and I tell her, I go, this is like the best night I've ever had, you know, thank you. And she's like, then the night doesn't have to end. And I go to kiss her, and like I miss her whole head, and then I kiss like her ear, and then like down her arm, and she starts laughing. She's like, you're such a dork. You are Rick Moranis' son. And I was like, oh. And what did you say about the night? And she's like, yeah, the night doesn't have to end. Why don't you come up to my apartment? You know, my hotel room. And I'm like, yes, okay, let's go. So we go up to her room in the hotel that she's staying at, and like, I'm not like a kiss and tell guy. I don't like to like talk about my conquests, but we had a great time. Twice we did it, and it was a record for me. It was great, and it was just awesome. When it was over, I'm just like holding her in my arms. We fall asleep. It's just excellent. And then I have like a panic attack, and I'm like, you know, what are you doing? You're lying. You're lying about who you are, and you're hooking up. Like, this isn't you. This isn't the type of person you are. And then like part of me is like, Jesus Christ, throw me a bone here. You know what I mean? Really? I mean, can't I just have a little fun? So we wake up in the morning, and we play a game I always like to play. I help her change, and she helps me change. I'll give her her bra and panties. She'll give me her underwear. It's a fun game. Trust me. And then I bring her downstairs, and I flag her a cab to the airport. And she's like, "Is everything okay?" And I'm like, she's like, "No, really, is everything okay?" I go, "You know, I gotta come clean." And she's like, "What?" And I'm like, I'm not really Rick Moranis' son. She goes, you know, Adam, I kind of figured that out a while ago, but I appreciate you like role-playing in this fantasy I've always had. Know what that means. She has like a Rick Moranis fetish or what, but she kissed me on the cheek, and she got into the cab, and she drove off. And I've never seen her again. Like in my life, Rick Moranis has denied me happiness like many times. But 4 years ago, he got me laid twice.